Welcome to the Architecting and Stilettos podcast. If you know us, you know us. And if you don't, hello. I'm Ara Juljulian, joined by Katie Flores.
Hello.
Here at AMK Studio, an architecture and planning firm in sunny SoCal. We typically get invited by developers, entrepreneurs, nonprofits, and luxury home builders who are struggling with the big three: maximizing site value and profits, obtaining approvals, and creating the ideal solution that will best achieve their goals. When the final design is as buildable as it is green, creative, and joyful, that's the win-win we're looking for. This podcast is about how we get there. We share stories, focus on real-world, behind-the-scenes challenges, and candid discussions, all while playing well with others. Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of the Architecting and Stilettos podcast. This marks the third of several episodes that we're dedicating to wildfire victims here in Southern California. As our first season focuses around the topic of why is it so damn hard to build in California, we're adding to that the sentiment of why is it so hard to live here too. Our steadfast mission is to empower builders, developers, and adventurous clients to build their dreams and reach their goals, with this being altogether more meaningful now. Our collective goal is to help, whether that means providing some hope or a nugget of information that helps to empower. On today's episode, we focus on the experience of recovering after the loss of a home to fire with our guest, Ara Juljulian. Ara has been a native of Southern California for 35 years and is a senior engineering manager at Tinder. During the pandemic, Ara and his wife purchased a house in Lake Arrowhead with the intention to use it as a vacation home. Unfortunately, in March of 2023, the house caught fire during a snowstorm and was entirely destroyed. As tough as this topic can be, this episode offers some practical advice from Ara's perspective as he discusses the process of collecting on insurance and the strategy that he and his wife took in making careful decisions. We hope it is as insightful to you as it was to us.
With the current insurance climate that we have, I really don't blame you. I get it. It's a valid concern.
Every time you call them, it's like an hour on the phone, right? So it takes a lot of time.
It's a simple concept. You have money, you cashed a check, you put it into an account somewhere, which should be earning interest. Right. And you're charging me interest for a loan that I have with you called the mortgage. One should offset the other. There are so many good nuggets of information here that I would appreciate if I had to go through this. So thank you again. Hello, Ara. Hello, Katie.
Hello.
Happy Thursday.
Same to you.
And today we have, as the introduction said, Ara, thank you so much for your time in joining us today. Your expertise and your experience in coming from having actually lost a home in Arrowhead and the meticulous way that you have kind of documented your process along with your thoughts on, what kind of went wrong, what you had to do to keep things on track, and some very good, useful information when it comes to really just stuff to know about insurance as well as the cleanup process and potentially rebuilding or not rebuilding. But there's a caveat there that we'll talk about at the end that has some good, maybe some hope for a lot of people. But you did it in a certain way that was really cool. So we have a good list of questions here. Your fire. So what happened right after the fire? Unfortunately, this is an experience that a lot of people can probably relate to now. Did you call the banker first? Did you call your insurance first? Let's walk through it. Some people, by the way, are going to have the wherewithal to be able to know all of this without me even saying anything. But I suspect that the vast majority might still be in a state of shock, or they just aren't sure. They're second guessing every step that they make. And from that standpoint, I hope that this is helpful.
Yeah, I really hope so. When we found out that the house was burning, the first thing I did was I called our insurance agent to let him know. And then I immediately called our California Fair Plan, our insurer, and I made sure to get a claim number. So I stayed on the phone for as long as it took and eventually was able to get a claim number. I figured having a claim number would mean that it's in the process, it's being looked at. So that's what I did.
Yeah, a file has been opened.
Right.
Something is happening.
Yeah.
There's some action.
Yeah.
And just to be totally transparent, this was your second home, not your primary home. But for many of these things that we're discussing, it did not make a difference, whether in the eyes of the bank, the insurance, it is the process. The process is the process for you, right?
Yeah, like I don't remember any difference in the process, like from both the lenders or the insurers, like perspective, it seemed like it doesn't make a bit of the difference.
When did this happen, Ara, exactly?
Happened in March of 2023.
Got it. So what happened to the existing mortgage? I mean, in your mind,
Yeah.
did you just go ahead and pay it?
Yeah, no, we kept on making just regular payments, like monthly mortgage payments, like nothing changed like on that front. I just continued paying making those payments.
Wow. And did the bank interface with I mean, when you were talking with your insurance and the claims open, did they interface at all with one another?
No, I don't think so. I did call the bank and I did let them know that our house had burnt down and they had lost their collateral. So I wanted to know like what the process was. So they said it's basically between you and the insurance company.
Right.
And they gave me the number to I think it was called the Lost Track Department.
Okay.
And then they said I called them and they'll explain to you the process, which I did. And
Okay.
then they said, okay, like it's like once you get paid by the insurer, okay, so you call us and we'll walk you through the process. But basically, the way it works is you get the money from the insurer, you send them the check, right? It'll be in the name of the insurer.
Right.
Once the insurance, like once the lender receives the check, they'll keep the part that like you owe them.
Right.
And then if there's anything left, they send you a check for the remainder.
Okay.
And then from then on, as you rebuild, they start releasing like portions of that money to you. And then just like they have to make sure that like you're making progress on the rebuild, and then they release more and more of the money until they've released the entire 100% of that money.
Yeah,
So
so it's
just to
progress
walk through
payments.
yes. And so
go.
just to walk through the process, if it's 25% of the amount that the bank is holding from the insurance payout, right?
Right.
To get that 25%, they need to see 25%
Percent of
progress
progress. Yeah.
on the rebuild.
That's
Okay.
how they explained it to us.
Okay. It's good to know. And it made no difference that it was primary, secondary in that case. I mean, it is what it is.
No.
What did when you started the claim, what did the insurance company need to see? How did that process go for you? I know it was extensive.
So, yeah, it was quite an extensive process. It wasn't like too complicated. It just like it required time. So they said when I called the insurer, I started the claim. I was told that a claim adjuster is going to get in touch with us within a few days, which they did. Someone from California Fair Plan got in touch with us. They said that we should hear from two people, a cause and origin expert and a field adjuster.
Okay.
About a week after the fire, I was able to make contact with both of them. The cause and origin expert went up to Lake Arrowhead to the property and then interviewed me. He asked a whole bunch of detailed questions about how the fire was started, etc. And then the field adjuster also was able to go to the property. Like remember, there was a lot of snow and it was not easy to get there. So that's probably why it took a bit of time. But
and you said that they needed a floor plan at this point?
right, so the field adjuster asked for a floor plan. We did not have any, so I created one. I used like software to create one based on memory and old pictures, and I was able to send it to him.
Well, you said a couple of things off camera. I mean, first of all, why did they ask for the floor plan?
Well, because they're gonna have to, I think they have to figure out like how much it's gonna take to rebuild what we had before.
Okay.
So that's probably the reason.
And then you just used a basic floor plan app to be able to do this, something very simple so that it was
I
very
used like this app
rudimentary.
called like Magic Plan. I built a
Perfect.
floor plan for them.
Right. So no need to go hire a whole
No.
company at this point. Just be very simple with it.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. He was okay with it.
Okay.
And
Great.
then this was roughly the process. The field adjuster like started work on the report and an estimate.
Okay.
And then they said that they're gonna send that report and the estimate to the insurer, California Fair Plan in this case, once they have it ready. And this was pretty much the process.
And I think you mentioned off camera that your experience with California Fair Plan was actually relatively positive.
No, it was great. Yeah,
I mean,
they were
that
really, really good.
what I was really caught off guard by that I wasn't expecting, because they're a hybrid government, private, public
Yeah.
kind of partnership, and we all know how government
Yeah.
things go. But that was really good to hear.
No, I mean, I mostly talked to one person, one gentleman. He truly cared. He was really good. He was able to spend a lot of time with us on the phone, explaining the process and helping us.
Okay.
Yeah,
This was
that's
a
really good to
yeah.
know. I think, again, I think just to have that reassurance that it's people, right? On both ends of the phone
Mhm.
call, right? No matter what, it's still people trying to make it better. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Ada, you mentioned that, I mean, this was a total loss, correct, as far as the
Mhm.
property goes? And how long did it take to have the payout period? Like how long was the process to get things
Yeah.
settled for a payout?
For the payout, it took roughly 2.5 months. So the house burned in early March and we got paid in June, I believe.
Okay. I want to say that 2.5 months is extremely, I mean, that is when all things go smoothly kind of time frame.
Yeah, definitely.
And you did quite a lot of work to make sure that things go smoothly as much as possible, because you're so meticulous when it comes to keeping notes.
Yeah.
Tell me why you did that.
So I figured like from day one, I decided to start like this log of like writing down exactly what happened every day at what time.
Mhm.
And that proved extremely useful because a lot of times, like when a company would call me and say something, I would be able to give them the facts, right? I'm like, no, I called you on such and such day at such and such time. I spoke to this person and this is exactly what they said. I took a lot of screenshots. I took a lot of, I did a lot of copy pasting, but what I ended up with was this huge hundreds and hundreds of pages of log of like by day and by hour, like what happened. Every time somebody emailed me, somebody called, I wrote it in that log, and that was extremely useful.
So I know we didn't talk about this off camera, but did you share that log with anybody, or was it just, I mean,
No,
like that
it
was
was
just
just
for
for
you?
us,
Okay, just
just
so you
so
can
that
have
I'm able to go back,
reference,
look at it for reference.
right? Important to keep organized.
Mhm.
So important. Well, how did that payout go? Did you get what you were expecting?
Yeah, that we did. It's California Fair Plan, insurer of last resort. So you don't get a lot of coverage with it. It's not gonna be like a Farmers or State Farm. So, but we did get like the full amount of what we had coverage for.
Okay. And that was sufficient enough to pay off the mortgage, which is key.
Yes.
That's one of the
Yes,
main
it
things to
was.
look for,
Yeah.
plus some extra.
Yeah, some extra. So if you want to know the process, like once we received the check from the insurer, it was in the name of the lender. And then the process was I called the lost track department, let them know that we have the check. They said FedEx it to us, which is what we did. So once they received the check, they kept the part that we owed the lender, and then they sent us a check for the remainder. So, and then that part was what like stayed with them until the very end.
And during this process, did you need a private adjuster or an attorney to help you out with anything? A lot of people have been talking about that
Yeah,
with the
we
wildfires
didn't.
now.
We
Okay.
didn't. I just worked directly with the insurer, with the lender.
Okay.
It was a lot of work, and maybe it would have made sense to go with an attorney or an adjuster, but I did it all myself. And given that I took a lot of notes, I think it ended up being okay.
Right. That's good. I mean, I'm glad for you that that's very important. And what a relief that it was done in 2.5 months.
Yeah,
And it's also a relief that you had some extra funding from the insurance policy, because you were
right.
sharing a few things in discussions with, are you going to be rebuilding in the same location or not? Your answer was no, right?
Right. So initially, like when I called like the lender and I
Right.
told them that like we lost the house, they said like we have to sign some type of attestation. It was like an attestation to rebuild and not indemnify or something. I forgot the exact term.
Okay.
So I asked them back then, I said, like, we're not like 100% sure we're gonna rebuild. Is this okay? They said yes. It's like you can change your mind later.
Hmm.
So that's what like we did initially.
Right. But you have some very good reasons for why you don't want to
Yeah.
rebuild at this point in
Yeah,
the same
there's like
location.
a
Right.
couple of reasons. Like one is like just it's a fire prone area, right? So I don't know like what's gonna happen. Like the underlying conditions haven't improved, right? So this place can catch fire again. And I don't know exactly what insurance premiums are gonna be, right? It almost seems like, well, in California or in the US, like your mortgage, a lot of times, like you're able to get a fixed rate
Right.
mortgage,
That's a
but
constant. Yeah.
insurance is not a constant, and
Mhm.
especially now. So I'm not sure what's gonna happen. What if it turns out that like it's $25,000 to insure a property in Lake Arrowhead? Then what are we
Sure.
gonna do? So that's the reason. We've kept the land, but we have definitely not made a decision on whether to rebuild or not. And
With the
then the
current
other issue,
Go ahead. No,
oh
go ahead.
yeah, the other issue is it's really hard to rebuild in the mountains, it looks like.
Right. Yeah, we have a little bit of construction experience in the mountains, and
Yeah,
we can appreciate that. And there aren't that many, by the way, consultants that work up there,
true.
typically. But um, the what can I say? With the current insurance climate that we have,
Yeah.
I really don't blame you. I get it. It's a valid concern. Even though you said you would work with the California Fair Plan again.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like they were really good.
Okay. But you had another major concern about rebuilding, and that really started with the experience that you had with
The
cleanup
city. Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
city. I mean, that off camera, we discussed this a little bit, really
Yeah.
blew my mind, blew Katie's mind. Do you mind sharing what your experience was
Yeah.
with that cleanup?
Cleanup was definitely the most complex part of this whole ordeal, right? So what happened was I called the county and I said, "Hey, we have a lot of debris and I need to understand what the process is for getting rid of the debris." And so they said, "Okay, well, have you gotten the debris tested?" And I said, "Tested for what?" And they said, "Tested for asbestos and lead." And then so I had to go find a company that does the testing, and sure enough, there were traces of both like asbestos and lead. And at that point, the company goes, "Oh, who do you want to?" I think it was called the P5 plan that
Mm-hmm.
was required. So I did not know what it was, but apparently it's this plan where they figure out like how the cleanup is gonna occur, which they did, cost thousands of dollars, and then everything triples in price, right? Because now you have to go to a company that specializes in hazardous material
Abatement.
removal,
Yep.
right? So
Ugh.
like they have
Yeah.
to like those huge bins they bring like cost 3, 4 times like the price of a normal one. So
And they
so
had to
the
be there for months, you said?
No, they did not have to be there for months, but like getting I think it was like the air quality, like the
AQ,
yeah,
AQMD. Yes.
yeah,
Mhm.
AQMD, like had to approve it or give them the permit that they needed.
Mm.
That took a long time. Finding like the like people to go up and work took a long time. Like once they were there, they were able to do it within a few weeks, right? But just getting people to go, like just like the or finding the bins, like getting them up there took a long time. So
Ara,
that took probably like another overall, like we got done with debris cleanup by, if I'm not mistaken, August.
and so that crew had to be out there for a few weeks.
They started working, they stopped working, then they started again. So overall, it took a long time.
And you were suggesting that for this is the crew that you had to accommodate with kitchen facility or something
I
like
think
that.
it was part of the P5 plan, was like so much planning. I did not even read through that five, and I don't even know if it's actually called a P5 plan, but there was definitely something that like they had put together, and it required a lot of planning.
Okay. How big was your house in Arrowhead? How many square feet was it?
It's about like 1,500,
We're not
maybe
talking a big home.
1,600.
Yeah,
It
this is
wasn't,
small.
but it was on 3 stories.
Well, it all falls down into the
Yeah,
same hole. I
it
mean, it's not
does.
like it's spread into like a
It
ranch style
doesn't.
or
Oh,
anything,
no.
but
No.
that said, how long was the cleanup process completely?
What do you mean? Like them actually doing the cleanup, like once they got all the permits and everything, or
Yeah, from the moment you made that call about to the county and said, I have to clean up the debris, to the point where they said, okay, now the debris is cleaned up. Now you can proceed if you want to.
it's probably like 4 months, 4 or 5 months.
Mm.
And the mind-blowing part is, how much did it cost?
Yeah, it costs a lot of money. Like it's so that's the thing that had I known before that this is a process, I would have tried to maximize our debris cleanup coverage. I don't even know if we could. Because I mean, California Fair Plan does not give you a lot of coverage. So, but
How much
it
coverage did you
definitely
have?
costs. We had like $16,000 of coverage, if I'm not mistaken, but it cost probably about like 3 times as much
Mm.
between like the cleanup and the permits and everything else.
And
Maybe a
we're
little bit less.
and we're not even talking, you said off camera that the foundation and chimney are still there.
Yeah, this had nothing to do with removing the foundation or the chimney. It was
So
just debris cleanup.
there's no demo of this, of the existing structure that is still there, even
Yeah,
though in many ways it is debris from the standpoint of, we can't just save that. It went through a fire, and
right.
we
Right.
can't just reuse the same foundation.
No,
It would need
no,
to,
I'm sure.
yeah. So that's some very funky info, but the process is a little messed up. I'm sorry that
Yeah.
you went through it.
Yeah, no, I get it. It was lots of learnings.
First of all, with this debris cleanup, Katie and I agree. I mean, and we all agree, if the Army Corps is now being sent to the Palisades, hopefully Altadena too, and the other areas that have burnt, hopefully the debris cleanup issue is going to get helped out and mitigated, so that people don't have a $40,000-$50,000 bill at the end of the day just to be able to start
The
their
rebuild. Yeah,
rebuild.
exactly. I would hope. Yeah,
Yeah,
that I mean, to be able to do that en masse seems like such a more efficient way to work.
yes.
So, I mean, that would be my hope that
It-
Yep.
that some of these entities could do that and take that on a larger scale instead
yeah.
of just doing a one-off, obviously.
Yeah. If the Army Corps of Engineers like can provide support, I would definitely take that.
Hmm.
Otherwise, doing it by yourself is so much work.
Yeah. This that seems like a no-brainer now. But
Yeah,
who would have, I, I don't know this. I mean, it's like I would not even think about this from a standpoint of the cost,
right.
right? We know that abatement is expensive, but we also, because we've done it before on different projects, but maybe there's variables that you had, which is it's in the mountains. They had to be there because they couldn't go up and down for a while. Like once up there, they had to stay up there.
Yeah,
So maybe there's some variables that
yeah.
affected this, but still, it's a huge cost. And during the course of that, I think you said you decided that I don't really want to rebuild. And did your lender understand that, or how is that process with your bank?
Yeah, so even though we did sign this attestation to rebuild, like, but like, so they had all the money, right? So like
Mhm.
all I had to do was once like we sent them the check and they sent us the part that like we didn't owe them, um, we started working on the debris cleanup, which was
Mhm.
taking a long time. And in the meantime, we were thinking about like whether to rebuild or not.
Right?
And then they would keep like sending us letters like saying, hey, we need you to show us like your progress, like how much progress you've done. And I would call them and I would say, hey, we still have not done anything. Like we're
Mhm.
dealing with debris cleanup, but I would remind them that they have the entire amount of the loan like in their hands, right? So there
Right.
was no
There's no risk.
exposure or
Right.
risk like from the, and they would agree, but then they would say it's just part of the system. The system generates those letters, and like every time you have to you call them, it's like an hour on the phone, right? So it takes a lot of time. So that was a little bit annoying. Eventually we decided like not to rebuild. And so at that point, like I called them and told them, and they said, yeah, no problem. We can just apply the the check amount like towards the loan and then
Mhm.
close the loan, which is eventually what we did.
You had a very good point when we were talking earlier about interest,
Yeah,
that hopefully banks listen to this, and or we
yeah,
have maybe listeners that are
yeah,
listening to this, and there's a group of them that have the same bank, that
yeah,
holds their mortgages, and they can be a little bit more
yeah,
Proactive. Yeah.
proactive, knowledgeable, right, going into
yeah,
something. But can you share your
yeah,
experience with interest?
right. So we continued making payments towards our mortgage, but they also had the entire amount of our loan like in
Mm-hmm.
their hands.
Mm-hmm.
I was under the impression that that should earn interest, right? Because like
Mm-hmm.
you're paying interest on one side, but then they have the full amount. They
Right.
they're earning interest, so
They're
that
earning interest, and
interest like should apply towards our loan.
right.
But then it did not. I can be wrong, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I've been like looking at the all the numbers and everything. It
Mm-hmm.
did not seem like any interest was earned by the money that was in their hands.
Yeah, they
And
were
I
holding
called
that
them
whole
a few
time.
times. So between the time they received the entire amount and the time I decided to close the loan, there were like 4 or 5 months, probably,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 4 months. So I assumed there should be some interest earned, but that
Right.
wasn't the case. So I called them a few times. Like I never got a straight answer. Like every time there was like they were defensive. They sent me like letters back, like saying everything's done correctly, but I never saw any interest being applied. It's a
And
question mark
it's a
in
simple
my
concept.
mind.
You have money, you cashed a
Yeah,
check, you put it into an account somewhere, which should be earning
right.
interest. And you're charging me interest for a loan that I have with you
Yes,
called the mortgage. One should
right,
offset the
right.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe it did, but I just don't see anywhere like in the numbers.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's crazy. I mean, I would think that if you were requesting like a forbearance or some sort of time period where you weren't making payments, then I could see them being like, that interest doesn't quite apply, or the terms have changed, you've changed the loan terms because you haven't paid, and so,
Right,
they could enforce some new rule on you. But the fact that you were making the payments the whole time, that's really hard to wrap my head around.
right,
It just
right,
doesn't quite
right,
make sense. Yeah.
right. We continued making payments
Mhm.
like we never skipped.
Hmm.
Right. And had you decided to rebuild, there was a major advantage in doing that, which is, I think, why you kept the
Right,
account open and you just kept paying regardless.
right, right. The reason we did that was because I wanted to make sure that we're able to take advantage of our like pretty low APR if we decide to rebuild. So the loan stayed open. We had
Like
a
it
low
was what, 2,
mortgage.
3%, something low when
Yeah, it
we
was 2
everyone,
point something percent. I
oh my
forgot.
goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but obviously, like if you decide not to rebuild and then you decide to go somewhere else and buy another property or build somewhere else, then your mortgage will not or the rate will not transfer with you. You have to go get another loan. And
Right.
that could be a problem, right? Because nowadays, like loans are the rates are
6,
high.
7. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
6, 7%.
Yeah. So the name
So,
of the game is to keep the mortgage open, keep paying it
right.
if you can,
And read
and
all the
convert
fine
it.
print.
Yeah.
Read the fine print, like especially with like forbearance. Like make sure that like nowhere in the fine print it says that like they're closing the loan and you have to apply for a new mortgage with a new rate.
Yeah. Good
Yeah,
points.
and I
Good
think
questions.
especially with, I'm assuming there's obviously the state, you know, governor and president, like multiple people are
Yeah,
coming out with like mandates and, relief efforts. So I think again, I would, my concern is just that people, oh, you're taking this benefit and think that, oh, it's going to help me, but it might not, I guess. I would just
yeah,
be wary of anything
yeah,
just to make sure that you're, by accepting some relief here, you're not giving up something
right.
else there. So, I think again, the advice that you had of just like talk
Yeah,
first to your insurance, like make sure
Mhm.
that what
yeah,
you're doing is not going to compromise, your payout or anything like that. And then same thing, talk to your bank and make sure that, those terms are not getting compromised by
right.
shifting something here or there,
Yeah,
that would be really
exactly.
scary. Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably a reason to hire a lawyer, maybe, right? And understand like
It's a good
what
one.
you're
It'll pay
getting
for
yourself
itself.
into. Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, was there anything else on the interest rate or anything like that that you wanted to share at this
No,
point?
I
No?
think that
Okay.
was it.
And then there's one other item regarding future, just in terms of the
Yeah.
California Fair Plan. You mentioned, which I didn't know, uh, you know, that is just basic coverage. And
Yeah.
in addition to the California Fair Plan, if that's, what you need, you're going to have to get additional supplemental
Right. So
insurance,
you have to
right?
get like I think it was called differences in condition. We checked. So
Hmm.
once like so in our case, California Fair Plan like gave us like insurance for fire damage, right?
Hmm.
But we still needed liability insurance
Hmm.
and everything else. So from a lender's perspective, even fair plan isn't enough, right? So
Hmm.
if you're getting a mortgage, the lender will
Hmm.
want you to have adequate coverage both for fire and
Hmm.
other things, including liability.
Hmm.
So we ended up like getting an additional insurance like for everything else.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Those are my questions. But,
I have one more
yeah,
question, Ara. You had mentioned just the paperwork, right? And how you really, I mean, that forethought is huge. I'm like, please
Yeah.
just take notes on
be
everything. I
organized.
love that. Yeah, that was really, really a good nugget. Um, but you mentioned that like in your case, your neighbors were the ones who reported the fire and some mix up at the fire department. Can you tell us that story?
Yeah. So our neighbor called the fire department and reported the fire. Obviously, it's in the mountains. We were in the city. So they called. And when I got the fire report, I realized that like it was the address for the property that like caught fire was theirs, right? Which is wrong. And I called the city or the fire department. I wanted them to fix it, especially because like we need to do debris removal, and I was thinking they're probably gonna check and make sure that the cleanup happened at the address of the fire. But then they said they cannot like they cannot make a change, right? Like once a fire report is written, I'm sorry, but this is we cannot make a change. So that
It's
was
permanent
like, yeah,
forever.
like it was a bit of a surprise. And
Ugh.
also it did play into our decision, at least for now, not to rebuild because I was thinking, oh my God, like if making a simple change like this is such a hassle, what's going to happen when
What's
we're
going to look
trying to get
right?
permits
With
and
other
build an
departments.
entire
Yeah,
Yeah.
new house? It's going to be such a waste of time.
Yeah,
right.
that's
I
crazy.
mean, it's just it's something that you have to have the stomach for. But it
Yeah.
Hmm.
starts with a dream, and if you don't really want to be there anymore, then you don't have the
Yeah,
stomach
the
for it.
stomach and the time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's a good story. I mean, in terms of the
Yeah.
fire department couldn't adjust their paperwork, it just added to the complexity, which is why you needed to stay organized, more organized than ever.
Right. There's a lot of times
Oh,
like I would have to remind people that yes, I did call and talk to such and such person, and this is what exactly what they said, and that opened up doors.
Mm.
yeah. Well, thank you so much. I mean, is
Yeah,
there
of
anything
course.
else you want our listeners to know?
I think this was it. I mean, just like
Okay.
it covers pretty much like the whole thing.
All of that, Ara, from the burn to the debris was essentially about 6-7 months.
Something like that, like from March, let me see,
August,
something
I
like
think you
that.
were
Like
saying.
I
Yeah.
actually could look and tell you exactly how long it took, because like by the time we were done with cleanup, I can tell you what day that was.
I'm sure you can,
Yeah.
down to the hour.
Yeah. I mean, I
But yeah,
have
but just to
notes.
know,
I
just
have
to
notes
know.
until November.
Oh gosh. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's without even rebuilding. I mean,
Right.
so I think just again, the reminder is like, it's going to be hard, but we just have to have patience with this
Yeah.
process. It's not going to be
Exactly.
quick. I mean, I think I'm surprised that you got the payout in less than 3 months. I mean, I feel like that
Totally.
alone is huge, right? That they weren't questioning I don't know, every little thing to be like, oh, well, we're only going to give you 95% of your, value or whatever because of some
No.
X, Y, and Z excuse. So I think that the fact that you were able to get the full amount and that was not an issue
Yeah.
Agreed.
is huge.
No, that was not an issue.
Yeah.
Like throughout all of it, like I felt that like at least like Fair Plan was on our side. Like they
Yeah.
really, really, truly tried to help.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, this was really helpful. There were so many
Yes.
good nuggets of information here that I would appreciate if I had to go through this. So thank you again.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. That's it for
All
today.
right.
And onwards we go here.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
This marks the end of the 5th installment of our Architecting in Stilettos podcast. Given that this is a time of great flux with various wildfire recovery programs being created daily, the show notes will be adjusted over time to address additional resources as they become available. Thanks for listening.